So now in this video, we're going to take a look at the servo. That's that right there. It's being controlled by this Arduino based Elegoo board. Arduino lets anybody copy their boards. So this is based on the Arduino version of this board. But Elegoo actually made this board and is selling it under the Elegoo name, which it can do. Arduino lets people do that. So it's the Mega2560 R3. Now, this servo here and these attachments, including the one that's on there, they come out of this kit here, as does the Arduino board. And I try to stick to only using components from this kit, or that are available in this kit anyways, when I do my Arduino based projects. And so these jumpers and the servo and this board came out of this kit. But in any case, what we're looking at right now is what the server does. So it's going between 0 and 180 degrees back and forth, and it's actually taking a little step along the way. So it's going from 0 degrees to 1 degrees to 2 degrees until it gets to 180, and then does the same thing going backwards. Goes from 180, 179, 178, but it's doing it very quickly. So it looks like a pretty smooth movement, a fairly smooth movement, but it's actually taken 180 little steps. Now we can pull this piece off, this leg, whatever you call it, and we can set it to any direction around the circle, and it will just go back and forth based on that direction. Or we could replace it with one of these two pieces, and again, we can rotate it however we want. So now let's zoom in and take a look at the board here. So I unplugged the board, that's why the servo's not moving anymore, but it's still connected the same way that it was in the last clip. So you can see here we have the 5-volt power supply and the ground there. We have two male-to-male jumpers plugged into there. The other side of these two pins come to the power supply wires for this. So we just apply the power directly to it. This particular servo has a red wire here for the positive side of the power supply. For the ground, or a 0-volt power supply, the negative side of the power supply, however you want to look at it, for this particular servo is brown. Now, so those are just directly to the power pins on the Arduino based board here by Elegoo. So now, the orange jumper here, this is actually what controls the degree. Remember, this goes from 0 degrees to 180 degrees and anything in between, and it knows to go to a certain degree by the length of pulse that it gets. So for this sketch that we have on the board now, it uses pin number 9, which is, as you can see, the little swiggle line right there. It also shows you that it's a pulse width modulation pin. It can send out pulses of various times, and depending on the time of the pulse will tell the servo what degree to be at. So now let's come to the sketch, the program that's on the board. So this particular sketch is called servo. That's what's on the board right now, and this sketch came on the disc that comes with the kit and is part of the project. So right here, this says include servo and .h, and the servo actually has a library of programs. You want to make sure that's on your Arduino based programming, and that pre-programmed stuff for you makes it easier if you're using the Arduino. And so now we name the servo for this sketch, and we start at position 0. So now down here at the setup part, remember we were using pin 9. That's this line here lets you know that the servo is attached to pin 9. And now slide that down a little, and then right here when we're at position 0, what this basically says is keep adding 1 degree of turn until you get to 180 degrees. And between each one of those steps, from 0 to 1, wait 15 milliseconds. And then once we get to 180 degrees, then we'll jump to this line, and it's saying subtract 1 degree, basically, until you get to 0 degrees. And again, wait 15 milliseconds between each step. And then it's going to keep repeating that because it's in the loop part.